Nigeria records 6 new COVID-19 deaths.
NEMA says that the death toll is 38, that they've been able to pull out 38 bodies from the collapsed building.
In-depth analysis of events.
Let's not kid ourselves. Nigerians still vote on ethnic lines, and as a result, a northern candidate you would think on paper would have more chances.
Every time ASU has embarked on strike, the revitalization fund has often come up, and people have asked the question.
The Newsroom, Mondays 6:15 to 7 p.m. on your number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
3 months of denials, 3 months or almost 3 months of giving us different excuses, but finally, nowhere to hide, and the NMPCL has finally admitted that it has a $6 billion debt and that the company is owing its petrol suppliers, and that's why you're probably in a queue right now listening to the sound of my voice. Or probably you've bought fuel for 1,200 naira per liter. Or maybe you're paying 200 naira for a place ordinarily you would have paid 50 naira for. And of course, all of the other attendant issues, this whole price increase or scarcity of petrol has caused. That's what will get us talking on the show a little bit this evening, even as, of course, we would have another interview, a remake, if you might want to use that word, of the interview we did last week with the special advisor on health to the governor of Lagos State. Because health, they say, is wealth. So we'll be talking about how the state government has fared in terms of health, what are the new things the government wants to do, and how you, the listener right here on Nigeria Info, can benefit. That's my cue to welcome you guys to another edition of the Newsroom, a program brought to you by Nigeria Info's Newsroom, where we take a critical look at some of the big stories that have made the rounds in the course of the last 7 days. Ufuoma Egbamuno is my name, and of course, thanks to my producers, Precious Nena Okon, who, by the way, has done an amazing job today, and of course, my partner in crime, who is staring at me because he wrote scripts. He wrote scripts today. Okay, Iman Alawuka is my super duper producer. He wants me to hype him. I'm doing exactly that. So at least he can buy me food this evening because I'm very rich. I've spent all my salaries on my family. Anyway, guys, I'm trying to laugh to, of course, ease off the tension and all of the issues that, bedevel us almost every day as a Nigerian. My producers have put a lot of the big stories that have made the rounds in the course of the week. Let me try and see if I can run through them. One of the stories, of course, that broke last week was that married female corps members who have been posted to states where husbands do not reside can now request redeployment. Absolute brilliant news, I would say, as someone who lives as a married bachelor, as I always call myself, living away from family. I know how hard that can be. So I think that's brilliant news. And the Lagos Mass Transit Red Line Rail began partial operations and running 4 trips a day between Uyigbo and Agbado, free for passengers. Great. The federal government also approved 50% electricity subsidy for public hospitals across the country. I think that's also another brilliant news. Getting to hear news stories of PHCN or whatever nomenclature, or the discos cutting off electricity from critical assets like hospitals. It was kind of scary because between all of that, how that can lead to possibly someone's death, and that's not what you want. So great move there from the federal government. Victims of the fire incident at the Dumagbo Avenue received bank checks, as of course promised by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And of course, one big news from last week is the fact that celebrated icon, the elegant stallion herself, who, by the way, we celebrated on Rewind a couple of weeks ago, Onyeka Onwenu, was laid to rest in Lagos. And of course, was there anything bigger than the fact that Mary Uke Ashia became the first winner of Nigeria Info's national finals for the I Beg to Differ competition, which of course we tagged Tournament of Champions. I left out one story because that's one story we're going to deal with today, that the federal government banned under 18s from sitting for WAEC and of course put the admission age to 18. We will talk about that in a second. And yeah, that's about some of the big stories that made the rounds. But quickly, two things. Like I did tell you, we have joining us in the next 9 minutes or thereabout, we will have the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on health, Mrs. Sadikemi Ogunyemi. She'll be joining us in about 9 minutes' time because we want to talk extensively on issues concerning health right here in Lagos State. But just before we get into it, in the next 7 or 8 minutes, I need to have this conversation with you, Lagos and beyond. I think it was 2 weeks ago when I was on the show, if my memory serves me right, that this whole petrol scarcity thing, I remember mentioning that the NNPC had been giving different excuses. First, they said it was weather, which was understandable at the time, that the rains, the guys that the ship, the ones in the ship, cargoes, they could not load to the different trucks because of the lightning and the weather so that it would not explode. At that time, May ending June, it seemed like a plausible reason, yeah? Because, of course, the rains were with us. But by the end of June the first week of July, matter of fact, between July and today, today's 2nd of September, you can count the number of times it has actually rained here in Lagos. Places like River State, Port Harcourt, it rains almost every day. Those ones, I see rain. It's like common thing for them. But I'm talking specifically about Lagos now. You can count the number of times it's rained between July and now. 2 months. And I remember seeing that story about 2 weeks ago, online, and I had to quote it, and I tagged NNPC and I said, this excuse is getting tiring. If anybody who could at least do some little bit of critical thinking would know that weather was no longer a viable excuse because it wasn't raining. I knew that something was up. I knew that there was something NNPCL were not saying and they were not telling us. Well, finally, they admitted yesterday in a statement that they are owing $6 billion. I did the conversion when I was writing that news last night. It's about 9.5 trillion naira. So if you do the approximation that, we learned in primary school mathematics, that's almost 10 trillion naira. The question will be, and I've been asking this question, and we'll try and get to the bottom of it. Shebi they put out their audited accounts a few days ago or a few weeks ago and told us they declared profit. Sometimes everything about Nigeria beggars belief. How are you declaring that you made profit, but you are still owing $6 billion to your suppliers? How? Again, there's something we're not being told. Over the last 2 years or thereabouts, my memory serves me right, the NNPC, on behalf of the federal government, has taken loans from, is it Afrimex Bank? What were those loans again for? And I totally agree with human rights lawyer Femi Falana, who was on Channel TV last night and said, we need to actually investigate this petrol supply scam, because that's what it is. It is a scam. Because there's nowhere on earth you explain to me that the country is owing $6 billion. And that's why, so all of these issues we've been having, all of this standing in queues, all of this buying petrol at exorbitant prices, is because our major oil company, which is the sole company responsible for importing petrol, is owing $6 billion in debt. And according to the NNPC themselves, it is a grave danger to the country's economy. That's why you and I have been suffering. That's why I've been buying petrol almost 1,000 in some places and over 1,000 in some other places. That's why people have been sleeping over petrol stations. I was coming back last night, from a trip, and there's a petrol station, the mobile petrol station right here on Victoria Island. There was a long line, and guess what? There's nobody there. So people were already on the queue waiting for Monday morning. Come on, really? Anyway, let me move on quickly, because aside this particular issue of petrol, I couldn't for the life of me, when this policy came up some weeks ago about was it WAEC at the time? You had to be 18 years of age before you wrote WAEC. I couldn't understand it for the life of me. But okay, we had that conversation then. Now, after all the cry and all of that, they said, okay, you know what? We're pushing it now till 2025. Now, the new one is that you have to be 18 before you can write JAMB to gain admission, or you can gain admission. You have to be 18. And you know what annoys me about this particular ridiculous decision from the Minister of Education? This is the same country where there is no age limit for marriage. Same country. Young girls are being given out at 11, at 12, at 13. Even when you and I know that that's not a right time to give a woman, I wouldn't call them women now, girls. No minister has talked about that. There's nothing, the National Assembly hasn't done anything about it. Girls are being given out as wives, underage, 12, 13. Nothing, no legislation has been done about that. But we want to do legislation on when. So first things first is the legal angle that concerns me. The last time I checked, education is on the concurrent list. That means it's not the prerogative of the federal government. It's a state issue. I'm asking the questions. The federal government sit with the 36 state governors and everybody to bring out this policy. So for the likes of Mary Uke Ashia, who won Nigeria Info's I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions, for the likes of Excel, the 13-year-old SS1 student in Abuja who wowed all of you over the last 3 weeks, and the many other Demilade Oluwalade, who's actually 16, I think he's in SS3. So Demilade will finish WAEC. They will now wait for 2 years before they seek admission. Meanwhile, this issue is not even an exclusive list. It's not in the exclusive list. The federal government can't just wake up and make why do we need to take ourselves back to the Stone Age, like Atiku, asked? I can't for the life of me understand it. And that's why I'm very angry. My son is 6. My daughter will be 5 in 14 days. What they're inherently telling me is that Ufuoma, who's my son, needs to be 18 first. Even if he's brilliant, he's passed his exams, he needs to wait until he turns 18. So what about the people who are 16 right now and have graduated from secondary school? What will they do with their next 2 years? Did the people who make this, did they not think about it? Honestly? Sometimes you wonder the kind of leaders we have and how they just make some of these ridiculous. In fact, someone told me, Ufuoma, this is probably the presidency or the government putting this thing out so that all of us can get talking and we forget the issue of petrol. Well, I don't know how true that is, but I can't put it past the APC administration, because we've seen that a lot. Did they not do that with the national anthem changeover some weeks ago, when after 1 year of governance, unfortunately, they couldn't point out to so many achievements that they've made. Of course, National Assembly quickly passed a law changing the national anthem in less than 2-3 hours. So all of us will get talking. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, because it's about time for us to speak to our guest on the show. You can feel the anger in my voice. Trust me, I'm very, very angry. Very, very angry. Because again, I can't for the life of me understand how a government will sit down and make these kinds of decisions without taking into cognizance how it affects everybody. Anyway, let's talk health, people. Okay, last week we told you that in a bid to continue providing quality health services to the good people of Lagos State, the state government launched this Lagos Smart Health Information Platform. Of course, it's for efficient and effective management of data. A digital system will eliminate loose data sharing and transmission through manual systems. Totally agree. 2024, why are we still carrying files up and down in hospitals? The few times I go to hospitals, I never understand it, but it is what it is, and I'm pretty happy that, of course, the Lagos State government has taken this initiative to move away from this quote-unquote Stone Age process to, get to reality of 2024. Now, not only this, the Lagos State government has also resumed the second phase of its free medical outreach called Alafia Eco across 12 designated centers spread across the 6 health districts of the state. In case you do not know, at least you're hearing it now. The program was halted due to the outbreak of cholera, but now it's been successfully contained. It provides healthcare, free healthcare, offers other healthcare services, free consultations, treatment for basic ailments, and registration to the Lera Eco Health Insurance Scheme. Now, that scheme is something we talked about some months ago on the show. Hopefully, we're also going to get a response from our guest on that. And our guest is already live on the show. Lagos, she was here last week, but as a result of technical issues, that conversation wasn't as smooth as it should have been. And so my producers decided that, what, that's a very good conversation that we cannot just let go that way. We need to have it again. And it's my pleasure to let you know that we have the special advisor on health to the Lagos State Governor, Mrs. Adekemi Ogunyemi, joining us live via Zoom. A very good, I would say good evening because we're evening right here in Nigeria. But good evening to you, Ma. How are you doing?
Good evening. I am fine, thank you very much. And it's Olukemi.
Oh,
not Adekemi.
My apologies.
No problem at all.
I would go nuts too if someone calls me another name that is not mine. All right. So there's a whole lot we need to talk about.
Yes.
But first things first, we're in the second half of the administration of the Lagos State Governor.
Yes.
How would you rank his achievements, if I might use that word, or how would you say health in general has fared under the Lagos State government?
Oh, easy question. And I'm sure you're already anticipating my answer. Absolutely, we're doing a lot. Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is committed because health is part of his Themes Plus agenda, as you know. So, he's tasked myself and the commissioner, Professor Akiabayomi, to obviously advise him and steer what we need and steer the state forward, because Lagos is the center of excellence. So we're actually right up there. So I say that because we have identified, obviously, areas that are of priority. Every area of healthcare is priority, but obviously there's some that are really, really of priority. And Mr. Governor will not hesitate in actually taking the advice and providing the resources that we need. So I would say we're actually faring well. Obviously, we want to do better. We have a lot of international partners who always come to Lagos first. Before anytime they want to pilot anything, it's always Lagos first, which is good because we can't do it by ourselves. So I would say he gets an A+ for health if we're to grade it. And I'm being very sincere and honest because I'm part of the administration and I know all the things that he just wants to achieve, considering the fact that it's even his last tenure There'll be, a new governor after him, but he's setting the foundation because there's a roadmap, a 30-year roadmap for Lagos. And we're on that trajectory as long as we stay within the same party, but there's a 30-year agenda.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's talk specifically now about some of these projects. Now I'll go back to the Alafia Eco scheme. So for the benefit of someone who's listening to Nigeria Info's The Newsroom right now and is probably hearing Alafia Eco for the very first time, what exactly is it about?
Okay, so a few months ago, there was all this. I mean, we realized since last year that the prices of things were going up. The poverty level was going up across Lagos, across Nigeria. But to be specific for Lagos, so at one of our meetings, Mr. Governor said, what can we do to alleviate, to just help those who are in need, those who don't have the resources, and also those who are finding it really difficult. I mean, everybody is, but there's some people, the poverty line and even below that can't afford basic food and basic healthcare, and some people couldn't afford to register their kids in school, couldn't afford transportation. So he came in and he asked all of us at the Executive Council meeting, what can we do? So the first thing we all agreed on was Oúnjẹ Èkó. Oúnjẹ Èkó being how do we get food to people? How do we make things cheaper and all that? Then we came up with Alafia Èkó when it came to health. And I said, because a lot of people do little outreaches, medical outreaches for the different communities or the churches and all that. And we just thought, why don't we do one across the whole of Lagos? Across the whole of Lagos. How will we do this going through primary healthcare and community? And then there were some people who talked about transportation, and then there was education. So for Alafia Èkó, so all those initiatives came under Eco Cares. So we came up with the umbrella of Eco Cares. And under Eco Cares, we have Oúnjẹ Èkó, Alafia Èkó. And so the whole idea of Alafia Èkó was about health. How do we make sure or ensure or try and help so that people do not pay for certain drugs? And that was the whole point, to get the free medical checkup and then not pay for the drugs if they're needed. Identify those who have hypertension, which is one of the highest problems that we have when it comes to health. So we decided, as you know, primary healthcare is divided into 6 districts. And we said each district, if we can at least see 4,000 people per district, we give about 24,000 people to see for free. And not only will they get the medication for free, they will get it for 1 month. So we'll divide it into 2 weeks. They'll come for a checkup, and then they get another 2 weeks without paying a dime. Not only that, Mr. Governor also extended his free antenatal care for pregnant women. That's 9 months of free antenatal care. And guess what? Free delivery, regardless of whether it's cesarean section or normal delivery. Free everywhere in Lagos. So that's where Alafia Èkó came up with. So that's what happened. We did the first phase. It was successful. There was rain in some parts, so that dampened it a little bit. And then we said the second phase will come. And then, of course, we had cholera. Then we had all sorts of things. And then we had to postpone it. And when we just did it, 3 weeks ago. And it was a huge success. And then now we're going to give the report to Mr. Governor. And I think he's going to say we should probably do it again. When, I do not know, but we will let people know.
Brilliant, I have to say. And just to, also add to that, let me give a very good example of, how important these kinds of things are. For someone like me, I probably would say I'm in the middle class, even though I don't know if the middle class does exist anymore. But 3 years ago, I went to do a documentary somewhere in my state, in Delta State, and for the life of me, I saw people who would rather spend 1,500 naira to buy food than use it to buy malaria drugs to treat themselves. In fact, one of the doctors we spoke to, because it was myself and 2 friends who did that documentary, literally told us that he's had patients who would say, all die na die. If na this malaria won't kill me, make it kill me. I never see money to buy food. Why I won't go spend 3,000 naira, 4,000 naira to buy drugs. It brought me to a kind of reality that I did not know existed. So I would commend, the Lagos State government for doing this, because we might take it for granted, but trust me, there are 1,001 people, out there who can't even afford these things that we think are not important. So it would be great if we can have this Alafia Eco again.
Absolutely. But we'll push for it.
Moving on, let's talk about, the scheme that was launched about, I think 2 weeks ago now. The state government launched the Lagos Smart Health Information Platform. Now, over the years, of course, like I said in my intro, we've been used to this manual, Carify, go here, Carify, go there, go and stamp it. And it's sort of become a racket.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to pay some people money, give some people 1,000 there, 3,000 there, for them to just move your file from one office to the other. So tell us what exactly this scheme aims to do.
Okay, so and you've hit it on the nail during your introduction. Smart Health Information Platform is exactly what it is. In other words, so let me give you an example. You come to the primary healthcare sector, you see a doctor, it's put in the, it's information technology, and then you go to maybe the secondary or LASUTH. Everything you had done there can be pulled up with the next doctor. So you do not have to remember what you said or what he gave you. Some people don't know the names of the drugs. They don't know what tests they've done. They don't know what the test result was. But this doctor the next doctor can pull it. Even if you go to the same doctor, even if you go to the same doctor in this, a different doctor in the same hospital, they can still see what that doctor prescribed for you. So you can't come in and say something and then that one is the doctor is guessing and making up another diagnosis or giving you drugs that you've already used and it didn't work in case the person forgets it. So that's just one. Not only that, it also gives us a lot of data. We're driven by data. I can't go to Mr. Governor and say, oh, by the way, a lot of people have hypertension. He's going to ask me for data. He's going to have me for percentage. He's going to ask me for the age range and all that. And that will tell him what he needs to know, basically, in order to make an informed decision on whether to spend money here or there. So it helps us to make decisions that will help the community in terms of where should we put our resources. That's one. That's two. It also helps us to share. It also helps us to share information. So if, for example, we can collaborate with other people, we can pull other things from developed countries about drugs, not about necessarily about the patient, about drugs, about how they are treating things in their own country and they're advanced. So it will give us that knowledge, extra knowledge. That's for us. For the patient, it gives them also some level of control. So patient A is different from patient B. Patient B is different from patient C. We call it patient-focused care. So it's all about that patient that is sitting in front of the nurse or the doctor or the pharmacist right there. It's not about whether they did it for B and they did it for C. It's all about that patient. And he or she can also ask questions and say, oh, I can't remember what my test result was. Can you tell me? And right there, it will be at the touch of a button. And like you rightly said, why are we pushing paper? Notes get lost. Paper falls out of your case note. Somebody can't read. The writing is ineligible. They always say
and doctors have that.
Have the worst. They have the worst writings in the world.
Yeah, they do actually.
Yeah, they do. It's like they didn't go for penmanship at all. So when you're typing something, E is E. F is F. So there's so many benefits, and that's what's being done even here in abroad, and that's what we want to do now. We've started with the medical record system. So now this is different. This just puts all the information together. And before you ask me, how about safety? How about confidentiality? How about, protecting patients' information? Very, very important. Absolutely important. I don't want somebody to know about my health records. And it's only if you give permission that you can share with any other doctor.
True.
So we have things in place. There's a firewall. There'll be a firewall where you cannot, just like you can't get into somebody's banking records, except the bank. It's protected. Even if you know the number, you either have a special number or a special code. And to even go further, to tell you how much this information platform works, if I, as a nurse, I go into the system and I need to get information about you, I probably will not be able to get it because I have not been given permission to get it. Why am I asking for your own information? Why? I'm not the one treating you. So it's only the person that is treating that has added that information that can give permission, or the patient can give permission. So we're kind of like, so that's what we're looking at. It's long overdue, but at least we're making that.
Better late than never.
Yes, absolutely. We're moving.
Okay, let's talk about Ilera Eco. I did speak with the PAMSEC, responsible for this particular issue some months ago. I think about 4 or 5 months ago. It was actually a very brilliant conversation, But there's a possibility there's someone listening to Nigeria Info right now who probably has not heard of Ilera Eco before, or what exactly it means. Quickly, in a nutshell, without going too long about it, because I still have a couple of other questions for you and time is fast running. Tell that person listening now what Ilera Eco helps to achieve.
Okay, so Ilera Eco is health insurance. Just like you have car insurance. In other words, when you buy your car and we insist you have car insurance, that insurance protects you from, if you're hit, it protects you spending too much money to repair your car. If you hit somebody, your insurance company will pay for the damage you have caused. If that person hits you, your insurance can also cover part of that damage and the other person's insurance. Now, health. You get health insurance. Nobody wants to be sick. Nobody wants to be in the hospital. However, life is life. If you find yourself in the hospital, let's just say malaria. You never know when that mosquito will bite you and you'll get malaria.
True.
Everybody gets malaria. It's an endemic thing in Nigeria. But you get malaria. You go to your hospital, your primary healthcare center. You do not have to pay a dime, a kobo, a cent, because you have insurance. You show your card. They go into the system. You will see the doctor for free. You will get your anti-malarials for free. You get up, you go home, and you relax. And that is valid for 1 year. So if you have malaria twice a year, if you have diarrhea, abdominal pain, and all that, it is free for 1 year. So it saves you money because you won't be paying out of pocket right there and there. Because if you don't have insurance, you go to the doctor, they will bill you. If something happens, maybe you even need surgery, they will bill you because you don't have insurance. So, and then people they come to me, they come to some MDs, they say, please, they've charged me 100,000 naira. Please help me get it reduced to 50,000 or something like that. Sometimes we try, sometimes we don't. We can't help it. But guess what? 15,000 naira 1 year
saves you all of that cost.
Compared to 100,000 out of pocket. That's basically what health insurance is all about. We have EcoSha for those who are vulnerable, the elderly who are no longer working, the disabled, people that just fall into a certain category. They get it free. We call it EcoSha. So the health insurance is free. So right now in Lagos, it's mandatory. We're saying it is mandatory. So we're pulling that, and there's national health insurance as well. So we're going with the federal government set rules for Ilera Eco. And that's in a nutshell. That's what it means.
Okay, quickly, I'll need you, if you can answer this in 1 minute. Primary health centers in Lagos, how accessible are the facilities there?
Oh, they're very accessible. Now, there are different tiers. There's some primary healthcare facilities that the nurse runs. So if they want to go family planning, if they can report there first, and then they go to another, if they have to go and see a doctor, if it's something that they need a doctor for, then they will go to, we have the comprehensive primary healthcare centers where we have theaters, labor ward, and all that. So those are the centers we have. We are different ones, and it just depends on where you are. And we're even going to have some more in the really, really far to reach areas. As you know, the Japa syndrome has affected us. Not only has it affected us, people come into Lagos all the time. So it's a strain on even our health system. People coming, the migration will blow your mind. They're coming from different states because of the work we're doing in Lagos State, and it does affect us. So we're trying our best to ensure that, okay, let's make these small health centers, malaria and stuff like that, where they can test malaria right there in the labs, small labs. The nurse and the pharmacist, they can sort it out, or they go to see the primary healthcare doctor in the bigger comprehensive primary healthcare centers.
Okay,
so
so
we're going to be building more per county.
So I have this question.
District.
Question from a listener. Sent this via WhatsApp. It says his name is David. He says he has a concern he needs you to address: the issue of government general hospital staff attitude, patients' welfare, payments for bed space, for staying extra day for a CS patient who lost her baby in the process after paying for the operation, and many other concerns. So I guess he's talking about, I think this is a personal experience, possibly someone related to him, lost the wife through, lost the baby through CS, but has to pay for bed space, and of course general attitude of workers. And I would say the attitude problem, I guess almost everybody has experienced it once in a while. Sometimes it feels like some of these health people are doing us a favor when they're actually working and are getting paid by taxpayers' money.
Yeah. And it's such a shame, and it does happen. So I'm not even going to deny that at all. 8 years ago, or should I say about 9 years ago, when I was at the Health Service Commission, I introduced what we call customer service care. Because obviously I worked abroad in England and the States, and I know every single person goes for mandatory customer service training. It's part of their evaluation and all that. So when I came to Nigeria, I did introduce it. We did do it. Sometimes I go to the hospital, they don't know who I am, and I see it myself. So I totally am aligned with your caller or the person who wrote that. And I'm sorry if you had such a bad experience. However, I will say this: we are continuing to address these issues when we know about them. So first, if you feel that your treatment was bad, it was, or you feel maybe, and I'm sorry for the person's loss, absolutely, I'm really, really sorry that happened. But if you feel that something went wrong or you didn't get enough explanation, you need to write to HEFAMA. HEFAMA is tasked with ensuring that we have good practice, well-skilled staff.
Sorry, Ma. Unfortunately, okay, just go ahead. Wrap up that thought.
No, that's fine. Anything that they can write through my office, Ministry of Health. If they write it, it doesn't even matter who they write to. It will always get to the right person, and we will address it.
Okay.
And then we were able to explain, because these things happen. People complain. We go through it, and we see that it was communication. Pure communication, where the doctor or the nurse did not explain to the person properly. We do not tolerate bad behavior towards people who are in hospital because they have to. We don't tolerate it. Okay. Mr. Governor will not tolerate it. So if they can report it to us, we will do something about it.
All right. Unfortunately, time not on our side, so we would have to wrap up this conversation. Thank you very much, Mrs. Kemi, for joining us on the show.
No problem. Thank you for having me. All the best.
All right, Lagos. That's about it on the newsroom this hour. Thanks to my producers for doing an amazing job today. My name is Ufuoma Egbamuno. I'll be back again next week, Monday, for another edition.
Facebook page. Are you tired of paying rent? Owning a landed property is now easy, irrespective of your income level or social class. Introducing the 1010 Vico Plus series by Adron Homes and Properties. With just 10,000 naira monthly, you can become a landowner of 125 square meter, 135 square meter, or 150 square meter in this estate location: Ogun, Jos, Oyo, Ekiti, Niger, and Nasarawa. With the 1010 Vico Plot series, you get to enjoy these estate features: children playing ground, good road network, shopping center, maximum security, good power supply, and many more. Join the 1010 Vico Plot series today and start building your own future. For more information, please visit any Adron Homes office or call 080-2804-6851 or 080-2461-8283. You can also visit our website at www.adronhomesproperties.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Everyone says I'm beautiful and bold. They say I'm fashionable. And to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
People say I'm good looking, funny, hardworking, and to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
So whether in the office or at home,
in the streets or on the dance floor,
anytime, any day, I never lose my confidence. And the secret to my confidence is Wazobia perfume.
Absolutely. Wazobia perfume gives the authenticity and long-lasting fragrance all day. That's my secret confidence.
Wazobia perfume is available in body spray.
Also available in supermarkets and markets near you.
You can also get it on Jumia.
Wazobia perfume, the correct scent.
Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Krima. Where you need to have the break time. Kivo Krima. It's not tea, but Garita. Kivo Krima. Kivo Krima.
Price of everything in the country just keeps going up.
That's not completely true, because the Samsung Blue Tax sale is here again. Simply walk into any accredited Samsung store, buy your Galaxy Z Fold 6, or you could trade in your old device and get your free double-door refrigerator that comes with 20 years warranty, digital inverter with voltage control and all-round cooling for maximum freshness. That's not all. There are discounts on the Samsung Galaxy A55, A15, and A05 series. As much as 70K off these devices. Offer starts from August 19th while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Tell me which kind thing. Viva no fi wash. Jenna tomato paste or coffee stain your body. Viva go wash. Chicken for your clothes now. Viva to wash away. Gentle for your pocket.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.